Okay, so just a few hours ago before market open, I sent you a video and gave exact prices that the market would react to. I hope you're trading this stuff because it's not difficult and you should have had a massive day today. So I'm just going to show three things with the trade balance. First of all, you should be drawing these in every single time. As soon as you know where prices are, all of these prices in here, once we are past our initial hour, these are all prices we can buy and sell off of, period. Okay, I'm not going to review that. All of that is self-explanatory. The second thing I'm going to draw in here is the extension, because we had perfect extension entries through here. We got all the way to the 50%. And what I had mentioned was watch out for the fakes. So we had two initial fakes and then a breakdown. So you should have been trading that. So you would have been short. Where do you get out? Any one of these. Can you test long? Absolutely. We come all the way back. We trade back into balance. We have another breakdown. And then we come and test it, kind of like a goodbye kiss right here. We test this. We break it by one tick. Speaking of that, I also mentioned in the prior video an indicator called one price. And that's this little guy right here. And we're going to add that. And it actually is the identical price of the low of the trade balance. So it populates here. We have it tested as support. And it did exactly what it did with the trade balance because it's the exact same price. And we can short that. So if there's anything that you can add to price levels that confirm that price level, it just makes it extra strong. And since we had one price that we already know is highly reactive, then we are going to have an extremely strong trade at that price level. And it worked the rest is history. This was the one in the prior video. Remember, I said we haven't hit that one yet. So one of the strategies is we can use that as a target. So if we're short at 11.5, we have a target down here at 98. Obviously, we went past that, but we had a nice little bounce off of it for about 3 points or so, and that gave you almost a 12 to 13 point run there. And it only happened in a matter of minutes, so it would have been a really quick trade. And you're snagging, if you're trading, if you're at $500 a contract or $300 a contract, you're going to be about 600 or so profit per contract just on that trade there. We haven't even talked about money in this. There's so much to extract out of all of this, whether you traded the retracement levels inside of the balance area or you traded the extension. And then I'm going to leave all this here. If we add in key turns, that's this little guy right here, we are going to get better pricing, in my opinion, because we're higher than the 11.5. We had this one last to the tick exact price goodbye kiss before this massive drop. And again, what's nice about this is it will not repaint. So this exact price I gave you earlier last night, well, I guess for me it was early this morning, 13.75, it's the same price. It's not going to change. This is our buy above, sell below. There's plenty of opportunity back and forth, and we can look at these areas to target for profit. Until the market starts moving, we just got to take profit. Remember I talked about that in the last video? Now I didn't have time to cover this in the prior video. What you're looking at here, this is backfill. So backfill, it was actually an indicator I was never going to release because it literally is that good if you're willing to take the time to understand it. And so I'll give you a 30-second overview right here. These vertical lines are buying and selling pressure. That's all they are. What it tells you is that, hey, we're dropping, but we have a lot of buying happening here. So get ready for this thing to flip. So if you look at the overnight session, we have some selling pressure building up. And sure enough, we drop. So backfill prices only form with very specific criteria. That's what these horizontal prices are. This one and this one and this one here. We only had 3 in the last from Globex to the close of the session, and that it happens that way sometimes. But what we do have is we have these buying and selling pressure vertical bars that tell us that there is a buildup to go the opposite direction. So we have a buildup here, we have a buildup here, it rounds out, we have a nice drop. So what does that mean in regards to points? Well, we're roughly, we peak at 11.5, which that's a key price for today, remember. It's the balance area, and it's also the one price level. And we peak out down here at 0575. So we have a 6-point span there. Now, what do we have here? We have a blue vertical bar. It means there's buying pressure building up in the market. Okay. And what happens? From that point, we run up. In the interim, though, we have these other selling pressure areas through here and here. We have another 6 to 8 point drop through here, a nice few point drop here, same thing here. We have this selling pressure building up and a backfill price that formed. Beautiful drop. Again, now we're at market open. Okay, we have our key turn price. I don't have it on this chart. Remember, it's at 13.75. We know that we have selling pressure, so we watch that. Where do we get in short? Well, I'll show you that in a second. So we have this selling pressure building up, and look what happens. We have this beautiful drop. Once we fall below that 13.75 level, we want to be heavily short on that side. Heavily. Okay, this is where we're loading up on contracts. Comes back, this is that key turn price, remember? 13.75, one last time to the tick, and we tank. What happens here? We have this blue bar here. Well, we have a buildup of buying pressure, and look what happens. This is a 5-minute chart, by the way. We have this massive hard bounce from that level, and this gave you a heads up. Look for buys. So that's basically what these do. Red bars, look for shorts. Blue bars, look for buys. We had a backfill price form. It filled it and ran off of it and just was absolute money. Let me show you one last thing. By the way, I have to mention this is not included in the Pro Suite, but I got to show you these because they just work so well. And these are prediction points. So I removed everything else. I'll add them all back in a second. The bottom line to prediction points is that ever since 2007, when I developed these, they have not changed. It doesn't matter what's happening with the market. They work and quote unquote predict where the market is going to react to before it even gets there. And in short, the blue lines, the market is going to trade between the blue lines, and the orange lines are what it's going to use to get there. Now, I'm not going to go over all of the trades with prediction points today, but as you can see, the market responded almost exactly with these prices on most, if not all, of the major turns. From down here to the tick, pausing up at this orange line here, maxing out at this upper line, this blue line, breaking and retesting, which by the way, those are some of the biggest money trades that you could ever take, in my opinion. See, here's another one. You want to watch for breaks, and then you trade it on the flip side here and here, and there's so many trades. But you add in all these elements, and all you need to do is show up. All you need to do, as I mentioned in the last video, is just click the button. Just get in the market. When you have tools that work every single day, what it does is it gives you a tremendous amount of confidence. This is how my top traders that have pulled out 6 figures in a day and continue to do that on a regular basis, they're using these exact tools. Okay, now I normally don't have my charts up this way, meaning I don't usually put everything on one chart. I like to have key turns on its own chart. I like to have backfill on its own chart and prediction points, etc. But I want to show it to you this way because I want you to notice how perfectly this lines up with what the market actually did. And so let me take 48 seconds and break this down for you. So remember, the vertical lines, that's part of backfill. those show buying and selling pressure. Now we have selling pressure. Where do we get in? Well, we didn't quite make it here yet. We have buying pressure. Where could we get in? Well, we have a prediction point here that we know it has a very strong probability of reacting strongly to the market, and so we would go long here. We have selling pressure, so maybe we take profit here. We have more selling pressure. We can get back in short here. We also have key turns. What do we want to do with key turns? We want to be short below, long above. We also have that prediction point again. And so either one is fine. It works for several points. Same story again. We still have selling pressure, even though we're above. So we can be long above that, but we have selling pressure and we have a prediction point. So if we decide to go long, we probably should take some profit. Consider going short, maybe taking some profit here again. Again, at this point, this is overnight movement. This is early in the morning. And so we're not going to have, unless something economically comes out, we're not going to have the type of volatility that we're going to have during the RTH. More selling pressure. We still have prediction point. We have our key turn level. We also have the one price level that had formed, and so that we can consider taking profit there. It went to the tick, which happened to be the low of the trade balance time period. So we can go there. We can get back short. I don't have Fibonacci drawn in here, but we can trade all of that. There's so many trades in here. Just pick one or all of them and get into a trade and extract everything you can extract. As we break this prediction point, remember, when we break a level, that's important, and it comes back to it, we want to test that. So we test it to the tick here. We go to the tick of the key turns price level, and we're short. We got to be short below here. We watch the fakes, comes back to retest, and we're short. We've already hit this price earlier here, so you're probably, if you're doing anything here, you're probably taking profit, or at least some profit off the table. But we have this massive spike that happened here, and what do we have? We have the backfill buy volume bar that formed. Where can we get long? How about here and or here? We missed this one, so we're long here. Where do we take profit? How about here? We broke it, so what do we do here? We go short. This runs for 7 points. Same thing here. This backfill price, by the way, just so happened to be a prediction point that was projected yesterday. So all of these prediction point prices are calculated for the next day. So we have these all the way back here. Before any of this even happens, we have all these prices. So we know exactly where we are buying and selling before the market even happens. Before any of this appears on your charts, we already know where we're buying and selling and taking profit. So once you get good at this, you're going to have a pretty good idea about how much money you could potentially make the next day before it even happens. Why? Because we have these gaps. If we have a 7-point gap, a 6-point gap, a 4-point gap, an 8-point gap, we know that I'm probably going to make 8 points on that trade. I'm probably going to make 10 points on that trade. I'm probably going to make 4 points or 6 points on that trade. Somewhere around there. We're back in short. We had that backfill price. We tested not just backfill, but we also have the prediction point. So we're extracting money out of that. We can retest. Now, because this is the second time and because we sit here for a while, we are cautious. So we're probably taking profit here. But once we have breakdowns, it's time to trade the opposite direction. It's time to go short again. So we're going to get on the breakdown. We come down, we come back to test. We can go short here. Okay, we have a break, retest, and boom. Where do we get out? Well, the prediction point's down here. And market's closing soon, so I don't know how much you'd be up today. 20, 30, 50, I'm not sure. It's difficult to say. I haven't even talked about the box. And let's just look at that really quick. I'll take the last 20 seconds and show you that. And actually, before I show you the box, I'm not ignorant. I realize that not all of you trade the ES. I would argue, I would petition you to consider it because it's extremely fluid. So here's the Russell with key turns. I'm not going to bring up all the other indicators because it'll just take too much time, and we're already past the amount of time I wanted to spend on this. But not bad. We have our overextension I talked about in the last video. What's going to happen? Well, we want to look for shorts, but we also want to watch for bounces. I don't have prediction points drawn in here. So we're gonna look for higher highs to be broken. We're gonna look for breakouts. We're gonna look for other reasons to get long to test this price. We nail it and we tank from it. Massive, massive profits on the Russell. This is the RTY. Okay, so let's go to the box. Okay, so if you watched the video last night, the trade that was on the screen was this short right here. We got to the second profit level, and then we got a long signal, and it ran to the third profit level. And then the first trade we had, so we'd still looking for longs in that scenario there, but we have all the other tools that we're now using, and we don't have a signal until about an hour and a half into market open, which is fine because we have already had plenty of trades to get in and out of. We have this small one here. Yes, it does pay out, not very much. It only goes to the first profit level. But then we have this one. So if you're looking for extra confirmations to get into a trade, I mean, how many shorts did we look at on the prior chart? We now have a box short, which the entry is going to be somewhere between, well, it's our one price level, right? It's one price. It's the low of the trade balance zone. And so it just, I mean, at this point, it's just free money. So we're trading all this. We're going short. We're taking profit where we can take profit. We're coming back to retest. This is actually a trade when we come back to retest this midpoint here, this red line. So, we got our key turns here. Got to trade that. We're short, heavily short. And that thing just runs. It blows past the fifth profit level. So the next box we get is later in the day, and it's saying to go long. It pays out a little bit. This one kind of the same thing. Volume's really died down at this point. So that one paid a little, that one paid a little, this one paid a little bit more. Obviously, actually a lot more. But zero losing trades. You had a couple trades that were just kind of small that maybe you ran out of patience and got out of those trades, but zero losing trades on the box. You should not have had any losing trades on anything else, whether you use prediction points, one price, key turns especially. Do you understand why I mentioned in the prior video, key turns governs all of my trading, all of it? Because everything else I do is just extra. So like these box trades, that's extra beyond what the major movements that I'm doing with key turns. Anyways, grab this stuff. There's trades every single day with these tools. I gave you the heads up prices before the market even opened, the RTH anyways, and you could have used them. You could have used them, and today could have been life-changing money type of day. This volatility is what we live to trade for. At least that's what I live to trade for. And so we just got to take advantage of it when the market gives it to us. When it's slow and not moving, it's not a lot of fun. But there's still trades. We're just not making as much money because it's not moving as much. But when it's moving like this, it's moving really well, and it's responding to every single tool that we're using, just get in the market. Get in where you're supposed to. Take the advice of the trader I mentioned in the prior video. Get in where you're supposed to. Take profit where you're supposed to. And click the button. That's all you got to do. Takes practice, but anything worthwhile doing is worthwhile practicing. So there's a link below this video. Grab the Pro Suite, get all these tools, and we're going to be back at it again Monday and technically Sunday night when Globex opens. But all of this stuff will work just the same next week as it did now. And hopefully you can see a greater perspective of how our top traders are able to do what they do on a continual basis. So click the link below, get started, and we'll be back at it Monday.